Hi everyone, in this video we are going to see the buck boost converter. Uh, in converters we are using buck converter, boost converter, buck boost converter and also a cuck converter. Here we are going to see the buck boost, which means the output voltage will be greater than the input voltage and also less than the input voltage. Buck means less than input voltage, boost means greater than the input voltage. This converter is the purpose of using this converter is converting that fixed DC supply to the variable DC supply. When we are giving, for example, when we are giving the input voltage as 10 volt DC, in output we can increase the voltage above 10 and we can decrease the voltage below 10. The circuit diagram shows that input DC supply, switch, inductor, diode, capacitor and the load. There will be two modes of operation, that when the switch is turned on and when the switch is turned off, on state and off state. First mode of operation, that is on state, when the switch is turned on, the positive supply is passes through the switch and it move on to the inductor and also the diode. The diode is connected like this, that is positive to cathode. So the diode is reverse bias, the diode will not conduct, so the voltage will not passes through that path. It passes through the inductor and it keep on circulating like this, which means the positive and also switch and moves to switch and switch to inductor positive, inductor negative and supply negative. This circulates in this loop. When we are move on to the second loop, the capacitor, which is already charged, starts discharging by changing its sign. So it discharges its energy to the load, which means the input voltage is greater than the output voltage, and also we can say that output voltage is less than the input voltage, which means the buck operation is going on. When we are move on to the off state, the switch is turned off, so the supply will not go through the switch, the supply is cut off to the circuit. In this region, the inductor will start discharging by changing its sign, so the positive supply to the capacitor to the load and the diode will start conducting in the forward biases, so that the energy from the inductor and the energy from the capacitor will move to the load, so the input or output voltage is greater than the input voltage. In the meantime, the capacitor will get charges, so that when we are move on to the next mode of operation, the capacitor will discharges the energy to the load. Switch. In this switch, we can use any type of semiconducting switches, MOSFET, IGBT, BJT and thyristors, depending upon the application. This is the waveform where the first is switching state, second is voltage and third one is current. The current will get charges and is move up to the I max and I minimum. When it reaches the I max, the switch will get turns off and it move on to the 0 point, where the switch will again get turned on for some amount of delay time. So the switch is turned on, turn off, turned on, like that it is going on. The conduction will happens like buck boost, depending upon the application we can use this converter. Thank you.